Hi, this is Jason Humphrey with the Fretwork Network. Today we'll be repairing a broken headstock on a Les Paul style guitar. Tools that we will need for this will include some clamps, a 10mm wrench or socket, string cutters, Phillips screwdriver, wood glue, wax paper, and some paper towels. So this is an Epiphone Les Paul. Obviously took a pretty hard fall. The headstock is broken off, as you can see, but it did leave a lot of gluing surface, which makes it a pretty easy repair. We'll remove the tailpiece, get that out of the way. The tilt back headstock, which is basically the Gibson style, Les Paul style guitars are great for sustain and playability, but when taking a hard fall, will break. It's a common repair on Gibson style guitars. So first we'll get rid of the strings. So we've removed the strings, we removed the tuning keys, and anything that is on the headstock. These are held on with a 10mm nut. And they have one screw on the back. Okay, with all the parts off the headstock, we're now going to do just a test fit. You can see the truss rod exposed. Just going to make sure it'll go back cleanly. It's pretty clean. There's some finish that is missing. We'll have to touch that up later. But overall, it'll go back together pretty good. So first thing we want to do, we use the tight bond with the green label. Basically, just don't want to get it up here where the nut sits because we'll have to clean that off. Try not to get any in the truss rod channel. Make sure it goes over all of it. And I'll put a little on this side too. Just put them together, hold it tight. Clean off the excess. And I'll put one clamp on just to hold it still. Take a small piece of the wax paper and put so the clamps do not get glued to the neck. Hold it tight, clamp it good. With that one tight, I'll loosen this one. And same thing with the wax paper. you should see some glue squeezing out from the cracks, which means it has plenty of glue in it. If you can get to it, you can wipe it off. If not, we'll clean it after we remove the clamps. I'm going to flip it over and look at the front. Make sure everything is lined up good. Clean any glue out of the nut slot. Now it is ready to set. I like to let them sit for 2 to 3 days to cure. Sometimes I'll hold them up to a week, depending on how bad the break is. But 2 or 3 days should be plenty. Then we'll remove the clamps, then we'll put strings on, and we'll tune it down a half step, wait a day, tune it to standard pitch, then I'll wait a day, tune it up a half step. If the neck is going to break at that point, it will break under all that tension. Then we'll know this neck is good. We can tune it back standard and get it cleaned up and be playable again. Okay, so we have left this clamp for about 3 days. I'm about to take the clamps off and make sure the joint is secure. Joint does look good. Put together decently clean. There's some chipped paint, which we'll address later. So we'll clean the excess glue from around it. And we'll put strings on it to make sure it's going to hold tension. So first we'll reassemble the guitar. First with the tuning machines. Put the bushings back in. We'll set the nut in. We won't glue it yet, but just to get the strings on. The bridge and the tailpiece, which I've already put the strings in. Then we'll restring it. After the last string, we'll tune it, but we won't tune it to full pitch. We're going to tune it to about half a step down and slowly go up with the tunings. So it's tuned roughly about a half step down. Typically we'll leave it 24 hours, then tune it back to pitch. Make sure everything's standard, holding. Everything looks good, there's no movement in the neck. So just for this, we were gonna go ahead and tune it standard. We won't stretch the strings or do a setup on it yet. We want to make sure the neck is going to hold, so we don't have to do any more work on that. In the meantime, we can address the chip out. Typically, you'll have to fill in with lacquer and finish and wet sand all of this back out. I'm just going to drop a little bit of paint on the surface, just to kind of match it up a little bit. It won't be neat, but we'll fix all that when we come back and do the sanding. It will require a few coats of this and some lacquer to get it back to how it should be. So we'll let that dry, then we'll drop some lacquer in it, then we'll start the wet sanding. So the neck is repaired. We'll address the finish work at a later time. But overall, the guitar staying in tune, and that is repairing a broken headstock on a Gibson guitar. If you have any questions, comments, or requests for future episodes, please respond below, or you can email us at the Fretwork Network. To get notified of all future videos, please subscribe and hit the notification bell. My name is Jason Humphrey, and thank you for watching.